All right, I'm here with mayoral candidate Brian Saterfield. Thanks for making the time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I listened to the forum on Monday, and as I was listening, there was kind of three themes that came out from all of the candidates and all the questions, which were economic development, and most people seem to frame that as like attracting businesses into Galion. There was developing young people, keeping young people here. It's a major thing, and like population demographics type issues, and then there was a lot of talk about utilities as well.
Sure.
So I wanted to start with utilities.
Okay.
Could you explain just briefly, I know there's probably a lot of detail, but the water situation? Because I've seen a lot of stuff online, but not a lot of specifics.
There's been, the EPA has come in and on the testing and found some issues in the water, some I don't know the acronym for it, but there's particles in the water that need to be, the concentration needs to be lowered, and the city's been working on that for several years. On top of that, there's maintenance and repair issues that needed to be done. We were able to secure $2.6 million in federal monies through the county that we've been working on for the last couple of years to upgrade our clarifier, to do some of the major repairs that need to be done, and that's an ongoing project. We're about halfway through that. There's talk about safety in the water, and what I didn't say the other day, and what I haven't really said, but what's the honest truth is that there's never been anything that said the water's not safe to drink. There are levels of that are issues that need to be reduced, and most of that time is in the summertime. Most of that's done with it's in the stagnant water issues. It's, if you will, it's, you know, if the water is looping and it's constantly pumping, then the water stays fresh and you're dealing with fresh water. It's if you run into a dead end line where it doesn't flush out and it sits there, that's where the issues become. And it's more in the summertime when it's the heat and everything is heating up the water. That's getting really technical in it, but the issue is the water is safe to drink. We're working on making things even better and getting the clarifier to work in the filtration and getting those issues resolved. And it's a process. But here's what I'd like to say. If the EPA was in here and said the water wasn't safe to drink, I certainly hope that people would understand that the EPA would have said, don't drink the water, and that the administration would have said, yes, we have a problem and don't drink the water, and we're working on getting that. And the EPA would have come in here and fixed the problem, handed us the bill and said, here you go. It's never been the case.
Yeah.
The latest EPA letter that's come out is there's still some violations or potential violations, but there's a plan of action to correct those. And the plan talks about resolutions by January of 2027, by June of 2026. I mean, there's timelines set up with these resolutions and to fix the problems that they're okay with. Yes, it's still a violation today. If you continue down the same path, we're going to be fine with that.
So it's more about staying ahead of it.
Correct. And it's getting those issues. It's infrastructure across the country is aging, and most communities don't have a financial plan to fix those because they're expensive. They're really, really expensive. And we're talking about the water treatment plant, but that's just one part of the water system. It's the main water line that runs from Harding down to 6th Avenue that is old and needs to be replaced either in sections or in whole. It's talking about the pump house at Amons and the water pump from Amex to Amons, Amons to Amex. I always get those backwards.
Yeah.
But, those are issues that also are in the forefront. There's, you know, on County Line Road where the dam is, Amons. So at Amons. So I gotta remember. Amons is low, Amons middle, Powers is down here. Okay.
Powers is easy.
Powers is easy. But the dam below there is aging, and it's got some structural failures that need to be replaced or repaired or completely fixed. That's on the forefront.
Is that what you were talking about with the ODNR?
No, the ODNR is Powers.
That's
so Powers Reservoir, built in the 1960s, whenever it was built under current standards at that time. Well, standards have changed, and they're worried about flooding issues and stuff like that. And so the standards that in the 1960s versus the standards in 2025 are different, and they want us to widen the base.
And they want you to pay for it.
They want us to pay for it, and now we're looking for some grants. There was a leak. There was a above ground, which means it was above the water level, leak that was observed early this year, that was repaired, and we got some grant money for that to do that. And it was potentially a failure on the west side of the reservoir, where there's a couple of houses sitting there. But when they were there, they realized that we needed to widen the base. Again, you talk about 4 to 5 foot of widening at 30 to 40 feet high.
The whole reservoir?
Around a mile.
That's crazy.
That's
not a minor thing at all.
Yeah, and it's just dirt. Well, it's not just dirt. It's compacting the dirt. It's bringing the dirt in. It's, and so we've been given an estimate of $3 to $6 million just for that. Okay. Where are you going to get the money?
Right.
And yet, the easy answer is look for grants, but they're not all there. And it's maybe not cover the whole thing. There might be a 60-40 split. So let's just $5 million. Let's just say it's a $5 million project, and it's a 50-50 split. And the grant's going to pay for $2.5 million. You got to find $2.5 million. It's not an easy answer.
So with both of these things, you have like agencies at the state level with
this
the
was,
EPA.
So this is ODNR,
right?
Department of Natural Resources, because it's water and reservoir stuff. They deal with that. You have the EPA that comes in and talks about the water treatment and the processing and all that stuff.
Is that sort of how everything is with city government? You have like the state level oversight.
And
they kind of tell you.
Yeah, and there was something mentioned here not too long ago by. The reference was because the EPA is in town, and we had a water line break on the main water line down by Dollar General on the east side.
Yeah.
Well, because we're being looked at, we have to file a report with the EPA. Every city that has a water line break has to file a report with the EPA because of a water line break. Did you lose pressure? Did you have contamination? What was the level of break and damage that was done, and what did you do to do that? Did you have to do a boil, or was it easy enough to go in and fix without doing that kind of stuff? We have to file that on every single time, not just because we're under the EPA watchful eye from the water treatment plant. It's not a good information. Because we're here under the EPA's watchful eye, then we have to be done right. Well, sure, everybody does. If there's a water line in Mansfield, if there's a water line in Bucyrus, if there's a water line breaking Crestline, they have to file the same report. So let's not compare or just jump to the conclusion that because the EPA is looking at our water treatment plant that they're watching everything.
It just seems to me like that whole relationship of the state kind of hovering over your shoulder all the time isn't necessarily the most. It doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room because you're just kind of as the city, we're just waiting for them to come in and tell you.
You're absolutely chasing your tail, and you're waiting for the, what's the next pin drop that's going to hit. What's going to happen. I was talking to the water treatment superintendent. And he said when they come in and they when they're in and they're looking at everything. So, as an example, what he told me was the step out front of the building, the concrete step. There's got a little bit of crack in it. There's a crack in it. So if they were to file that, they would say that there was an infrastructure problem with the water treatment building. You need the front step replaced. Okay, but when the report comes out and it says there's an infrastructure problem, people go,
that sounds like a big deal.
It sounds like it's a huge deal. We need to fix the step. Yeah. So I caution people to be careful what they read and read the entirety of the report and look at the plan of action that has been presented by the city and that has been accepted and or rejected by the EPA is that this will work. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
And that's how it is everywhere in Ohio. pretty much.
I would think, I mean, sure, are we under the watchful eye? Are they coming in here probably more frequently than other places? Sure.
Yeah.
But it's because they identified some problems and making sure that we're taking the steps to fix those.
Has it been like that? Has that changed recently in the last 10 or 20 years, maybe, as far as the way those relationships work with those agencies? Or?
I can't answer that. I don't know. I know that, I don't think any community wants to have the eagle eye of EPA and watching their every move.
I mean, want safe water, of course, but
absolutely,
it just doesn't seem like
an
outsider, it doesn't seem like a great relationship.
I think that the relationship, and I'm speaking without full knowledge, but talking with Tom and Nikki, it's not an adversarial relationship. It's a matter of fact relationship, and this is what we see, and this is what you need to do to fix it.
Yeah. Not that it's adversarial, but just the paradigm of having them up here, coming in, telling you this. It's hard for you as a city to implement the things that you want to do if you're constantly, as you said, chasing your tail all the
Correct.
time.
Yep.
There's nothing we can do about that. It's just interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting to know how those things work.
Yep.
All right. We move on to the population question. Young people.
Yeah.
I guess when I remember I graduated in 2008. When I was in school, the way that I can't remember any particular thing that anyone said, but the general kind of attitude was you want to go to college, you want to get a good job, and then, I don't know, move to a big city or whatever. And looking back on the way things have gone for me, people I know, like, I don't know that that's a good idea for kids. I don't know that that's really the right idea. Maybe you make a lot of money, maybe you don't, but to me it's important, the idea of having a home and staying here. And I don't know to what degree that's the same or different in the schools now, or just the general culture now, the way we talk to kids about things like that. But is there anything that you see we can do?
I just think that we need to make sure that our students are educated on what jobs and what careers are available locally. And, in Galion or in Crawford County, that they could raise their family in Galion. Maybe they worked in, someplace close, or they worked, directly into Galion, but making them aware of what those careers are, what the resources are that will get them better situated to go into that field. There are good paying jobs in Galion, and there are jobs that are available in Galion that people just don't know. The going to college and seeking that higher education and bettering yourself is a great idea. It doesn't fit for some people. It didn't fit for my stepson. That's not what he wanted to do.
It costs a lot of money.
And
too.
it costs money.
It's no guarantee they act like it's
correct. So it's making sure that our students, our sophomores, juniors, and seniors, that they know what's available. And I know that they do job fairs, and I know that across the county there's fairs that those kids can go to see what's out there. But making them understand and having them talk to, I'm going to bring heating and air conditioning. It's a great trade to have, and it's a needed trade in the community.
Oh, yeah.
And I have friends that have spent their career doing that and have made a decent living and have lived locally. Why aren't we pushing that? It's I got a buddy that owns a carpet business that is begging for somebody to come in and learn the trade and be able to do that. And carpet, flooring and stuff like that. Installing stuff. Is it hard work? Sure, it's hard work. But you make a good living out of it. And it's something that the phone doesn't stop ringing a lot of times for that stuff. So I think that's what we need to do, is we need to communicate with those kids and not everybody is set out to be the executive at ABC business.
Right.
You know, there has to be some Indians along with the chiefs, and sometimes the Indians are what keep the chiefs employed.
Yeah, all the time.
And keep the business running, and you know, a good employment base. When people when you ask somebody to come out and do your plumbing, and you want somebody that's polite, courteous, that's affordable, and they do the job and do it well, and they walk back in, you don't have to call them back.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps that business flourishing.
Yeah. Do you know of any good resources around here for people connecting, trying to find jobs or list jobs?
I think, I mean, there's some online services. I know that the Crawford Partnership posts some of that stuff. I truly believe that, and I'm not downgrading. My daughter went to Pioneer, and Pioneer is a great resource that we have here in Crawford County for those kids that don't seek that higher education learning, but they want that skill, that trade when they come out of school, and encourage them to do those kind of seek that kind of education in high school. It's, you know, college isn't for everyone, but you come out with a bricklaying trade or an SCNA, you know, certification when you can go into cosmetics, carpentry, those kind of things, auto shop. Sean Livingston down there at Shevers just can't seem to find help that continues. Yeah, I mean, our cars break down all the time.
Yeah.
He needs people to change the oil to be able to keep
right now.
Yeah. So I don't want to get my hands dirty. No, there's nothing wrong with getting your hands dirty.
What about starting businesses? Are there resources
I'd have to give you a little bit more time on looking at that. It's you know, when I talked about economic development and change like that, I'm not the whiz in this thing. I know there's resources available, but I think that number one, you have to be ready for somebody to come in and go, I want to move my business here, what can you do for me? So get that knowledge, know who to call. So maybe I don't know the full impact of a tax incentive financing or something, the TIF, if you will, or what these people need to do fully. But if I know who to call, or if I know, hey, call Mr. So-and-so at the Crawford Partnership or Ohio Jobs, or if I know where to team them up, and then we say, hey, let's come in and talk about this stuff. Yeah, there's some prime locations here that are available. Yeah. We just have to get the right people to come in here and prosper.
Yeah. Or local people.
Or local. Yeah, local investment is great.
That's one of the things that I think when you're in school, you don't really think about. You just start your own business.
Right.
I mean, maybe people say it, but like, what does that actually look like?
Right.
What are the reasons? Like, how can you connect with other people?
And that's what, you know, we talk about that, and you know, while we're sitting here uptown, and the uptown area has been another conversation point with how do we get this to be more vibrant, and it's working with the local investors currently, and then trying to entice some other investors, whether local or outside, to come in and invest as well. And we need a couple really solid locations for people. Where do you go to eat uptown? I mean, the Whistle Stop does a great job for breakfast and lunch. You got the Chinese restaurant that's still open uptown. I don't know where else you go. Yeah. And so there needs to be a location. You know, the horror museum is just new into town. Oh my! It's a great idea. It's a great start. I hope it flourishes. Yeah. You know, it's a destination. It's a location. It's a reason to come to downtown Galion. And we need a couple more of those places to keep people here. You know, instead of having them go to eat dinner in Ontario or Bucyrus or Pestline, you know, there needs to be a reason to come downtown.
Yeah, or fast food. You know, that's what people think of when they think.
Yeah, I don't mean to
right.
push off the fact that Wendy's is uptown here as well, because it is, and it does it. It's a great job. Again, but where do you go to sit down for dinner uptown? And there isn't.
Those places are big for just culture too. Rather like forget economics for a second, just having those like points that people know of when they see each other.
And that goes, it can steamroll. You have a place to go. Let's just say there's a restaurant in town everybody wants to go to, regardless of what kind of good food, good service. And then you have, maybe you have a Friday night, the third Friday, so downtown, you go have dinner, you come to the third Friday, or you have a concert at the gazebo, you do something, there's not a lot of locations for like a brickyard event over in Mansfield. But if we go to Nolan Park down here, maybe utilize Nolan Park for something like that, an event. I know there's a couple ideas out there of I'm going to say a gondola, but it's really not. It's just a platform that fits into a parking space, 12 foot long, 8 foot wide, that has seating on it. And you park 2 or 3 of those out here, now you got seating.
Oh, for like
on the street.
I see.
Okay, so there's a place to sit, and wow, what a great idea! Now you have something to do. We have to entice people to come back down, but there has to be a reason to come down.
Yeah.
That falls into the DORA, the downtown outside recreational DORA. The ability to take an alcoholic beverage and walk around uptown. Okay.
But can you do that?
We could set up a DORA, but right now, where are you going to go? It's getting the local establishment to say, I'm okay with you to purchase an alcoholic beverage here, and then I'm going to go outside and I'm going to walk. But if all you're going is from bar to bar, and I hate to use it as that term, but if you're going from the Elks to the tap room, or from the Owls to the tap room, or from the Army Navy, you're not going very far.
Yeah.
You can't take that alcoholic beverage into the tap room or into the other establishment. But if there's some place to go, that there's entertainment out here and you can go and you can do that. Now it makes sense. Right now it doesn't make sense unless you're just wanting to go out and sit on the sidewalk and watch the cars drive by.
Yeah. You say set up what was that, a DORA?
DORA.
Is that like a temporary thing? Or
No,
just
that
like
would be a
zoning?
permanent. Bucyrus has DORA, Crestline has DORA in their areas, and it would be set up in an area. So maybe it would be set up from Market Street to Liberty, or Liberty Street all the way up to Union Street, and then a block this way. So you would set up an area where that it's okay, and you have to have a DORA cup, a solo cup, if you will, and you're carrying it around and you're purchasing of it. You're not being sold alcohol on the street. You're being sold alcohol or something to consume at the local establishments, and you go from one to another. And it's an idea. It's an idea that's been pushed before. It has not gotten much traction, again, because where are you going? We're putting, which comes first, the DORA ability or the activity that creates? Yeah, there has to be a reason, and I think they can be melded, but you have to have it. There has to be a reason to have it.
Okay.
Sure. Kind of jumped into something different.
Yeah, that's interesting. So when you talk about attracting businesses here, what does that look like?
I just think you have to promote what you have.
Yeah.
It's stable and vibrant school system. It's stable utilities. Working with people for that. You have to have someplace for people to live. Our whether we work on trying to build more houses or to have the ability for people to come in and purchase a home. It's pretty reasonable to buy a house in Crawford County in Galion as opposed to Delaware and Columbus. The region, and our region is fairly reasonable to live, but you have to have places to go. You don't want to attract a business that's paying really nice wages, and families want to have their $80,000, $100,000 a year jobs, and then they can't find someplace to live, and then all of a sudden they live in Mayoral County, they live in Delaware, and they come driving here. You want them to live here. You want them to raise their families to move here.
Yeah.
So we need to work on that, and that's the big picture, and that's the big package that needs to be worked on. Again, local investment. The Port Authority building a couple houses out at the old Wrenchville School. Hopefully that whole takes it into a cul-de-sac or drive back into the field behind where Wrenchville was. We had the softball fields and stuff. that all potentially is going to get developed. But looking at East End, where can we develop and do houses? Is there areas in the North End that we can do that? It's not just looking at one specific. I mentioned the Rentsville, but it's not just there. Where can we expand and have more affordable housing for people to move their families?
Interesting. I will say, I noticed, I meant to say it earlier, the Uptown is more vibrant, I guess you would say, than I remember it being when I was a kid.
It's getting there. It's if you go down the street here and some business owners are doing some really good, neat things to these buildings. You don't want to lose the historical value. You look at the top and the crown molding and the stuff in these buildings, it's like, wow, that stuff's really neat. You don't want to lose all that aspect. At the same time, you have to be cautious with what it costs to repair those things. And has the building deteriorated to the point where it's not cost effective to repair the existing, but can we do something different to the building that still maintains the historical value, or at least the historical storefront, and preserves the building?
Okay.
Kind of makes sense.
I bet that is pretty expensive because they don't.
And some of the buildings have really deteriorated, and it's just not cost effective to do some of the new brick stuff that would need to be done to them. It's just not. It's going to cost more than the building's worth. So, again, economics is what's cost effective. And are we allowing people to do things that are more energy efficient while still holding some historical value to the building?
Yeah.
And I think there's a blend there. And I think we just need to work that out.
How does that work if I buy that building and I want to do whatever with it?
You can't do just whatever with
it right
now.
Whatever I wanted to do with it, I go to
you go to the design review committee.
I'm not buying the building. I'm not.
No,
buying
I get it, but yeah. So if you did that, you'd go to design review and you'd give them their plans, and they would look to see if it matches with the current standards for design review and the current standards of upgrading buildings. And if you wanted to put windows in, and they went, no, that doesn't meet the historical value, and they would say, no, you can't do that. And if you disagree with them, then you can go to the appeals, and if you disagree with that, then you can go to court of common pleas. You'd hate to see it go to that point, but I think that's the process, and we're seeing that play out right now. If you go down to the Peace Lutheran Church with the steeple that's been crumbling since March, April, and it's been fenced off, and it needs to go down, and they want to tear down. The Port Authority wants to tear down the sanctuary. They were told they can't do that, and now they're in the appeals process. All the while, we have Market Street that is partially closed off.
So that's what's going on with that.
That's what's going on with that. It's in the appeals process.
Okay. So that's the same thing with design.
Yeah, because the church is within the design review perimeter, if you will.
And that's just a function of the city.
Yes. That's the easy answer. Yes.
Well, that's all the questions I have. Anything else?
No, I just I guess I would say this is that I've been in local government here in Galion since 2004, so 21 years. I'm the police chief. I'm currently the auditor, but what I would say is that my track record is pretty solid. I'm a hard worker. I'm dedicated to the city and making things better. And while I don't have all the answers, I'm not afraid to ask questions. And what I'm not going to do is make promises that I know that I just can't keep. And I'm not going to give you this vision of things. There's visions that I'd like to see happen, but there's stuff that I know that it's going to take time. And I think expecting huge changes in a very short period of time is unrealistic, and I think that's unrealistic for any of the candidates to look at. We all bring different backgrounds to the job, but I think my track record shows that I'm the one that's able to go in here and I'm gonna hit the ground running. I know what's going on currently with the city and the issues that we're dealing with, and I think I'm the right person for the job right now.
I appreciate the time.
Thanks, sir.
November 4th.
November 4th. Go out and vote. Go out and vote. Whoever your candidate of choice is, but go out and vote and help the community make a decision on where we want to go in the next 4 years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.